Hey everyone, Zach here from Windows Central and welcome back to another video. Now today we're taking a look at Windows 10 version 2004. This update includes a number of new features and enhancements over the last Windows 10 feature updates, which were version 1909 and 1903 released in 2019. This is the first Windows 10 update for 2020 and is packing a few noteworthy new changes. Nothing huge, this isn't a huge update by any means, but it's an update nonetheless, so let's get started. So the biggest new change with Windows 10 version 2004 is a brand new Cortana experience. Microsoft has redesigned the entire thing and turned it into an app that can be updated independently from the operating system. So what that means is Microsoft no longer has to wait for new versions of Windows 10 to update Cortana. They can now do so through the Microsoft Store whenever they feel like it. So this should allow Cortana to improve and update at a much faster pace. But for now, let's take a look at the actual new user interface, which is quite the departure from the old one on Windows 10. The old Cortana sort of emphasized voice input quite heavily. This one puts typing front and center. Now, of course, you can still use your voice if you want to, but in this case, we're not going to. We're just going to type to Cortana. So I can say, what's the weather like? And Cortana will, of course, reply with the weather. Now, you'll notice that Cortana didn't reply with a voice, and that's because I didn't talk to it. I used a keyboard. So, as with any text-based conversation, if you type something into it, you would expect a text response back. If you do use your voice, so if I say here, what's on my schedule today?
I see 2 events for today.
You'll see there Cortana will reply with a voice because I used my voice to interact with it. So Cortana will use the correct method of response. This is great for those who aren't very comfortable with talking to their PCs. If they prefer typing, they can type and discreetly get responses back without annoying anybody else in the office. Or if you're somebody who doesn't care and loves talking to their computer, you can still do that and Cortana will shout back at you just like it always has, which is very nice indeed. Now, although there is a brand new Cortana experience, there's actually quite a regression in features if you're somebody who uses Cortana quite heavily. For example, you can no longer access the Cortana notebook through this user interface, and you also can't use skill-based commands or connected home commands. So if I want Cortana to turn off my lights, it will no longer do so, unfortunately, because it can't do that. And this is because Microsoft is repositioning Cortana on Windows 10 as a productivity-based assistant. So it wants to help you out with your emails, schedules, reminders, all of that Microsoft 365-based stuff. Cortana should be very good at that on Windows 10. So, for example, I can say, cancel my next meeting.
Okay, today at 4:30 p.m. you have content planned.
Yes, there we go. And I've now cancelled that, and now Cortana will remove that from my schedule. I can also say, send an email.
Okay, who's the email going to?
Daniel Rubino.
What should the email say?
This is a test email.
Okay, I'll email Daniel Rubino saying this is a test email. Ready to send it?
Then, of course, I can send that off just like that.
I've sent it.
And Cortana will now send that email, and I haven't touched the keyboard at all, which is quite nice. There's also a bunch of example commands down here that I can simply tap on to quickly insert and get rolling. So I can ask this question just by clicking on it, and Cortana will hopefully respond with an answer. There we go. If I click on this here, it will take me to the web browser where I can read more about that piece of information. So that's a quick look at the Cortana experience. If we jump into settings real quick, we can see that there's a couple of noteworthy changes here. We can revoke permissions and sign out if we want to. There's also quick access to our Microsoft Privacy dashboard. We can also clear our chat history from here. We can also do that just by right-clicking on a text bubble here and deleting either that specific text bubble or the entire conversation history, which I won't do. The nice thing about this new Cortana is that it actually remembers your conversation history, so you can scroll back up and see things you've asked it before quite conveniently, which is very nice. We jump back into settings here. There's also a talking to Cortana area, which allows you to activate things like Hey Cortana, which does work with this new version of Cortana. So if we close this now that's on and say the magic words, Hey Cortana, what's the weather like today?
The forecast shows mostly sunny skies with a high of 50 and a low of 37, with a slight chance of rain.
And there you go. You'll notice that when you use the Hey Cortana command, the UI shows up in a little box here, which is kind of nice. There's also a permissions area which allows you to revoke microphone and online speech recognition access. If you do that, of course, Cortana will no longer be Very useful. So since Cortana is now an app, you can actually manipulate it like one. So I can actually drag it around the screen if I want to. If I don't like it showing up here, I can move it to show up over here if I want to. I can even full screen it if I want. Just like an app, and that's actually pretty cool. So there you have it. So that's a very quick look at the new Cortana experience. A regression in some instances, but an improvement in other areas. I'll be very interested to see where Microsoft takes the new Cortana experience now that it's an app that can be updated independently from the OS. I think that's quite a big deal, and is a key part of making Cortana a good experience on Windows 10, because now it can be updated whenever Microsoft needs it to be, which is very nice indeed. Microsoft has also updated the search UI ever so slightly, so it's pretty much the same as the old search UI, but now it has a bunch of quick searches along the bottom. So Microsoft now recommends searches for you, so you don't have to type them in yourself. You can just tap on one of these down here. So if we say top news, that will now automatically search for top news without me having to type that in, which is kind of nice. Now at the top here, you'll also see your Microsoft Rewards points. So if you are a part of Microsoft Rewards, you can see your points up there now. And if you click on that, that will take you to the Microsoft Rewards website where you can redeem your points and so on and so forth. I only have 151 in this account, unfortunately, so I don't really have any points to spend. But if you're somebody who uses Microsoft Rewards quite heavily, this is a nice feature. There's also a new search with a screenshot function. So if I click on this and press OK here, I can now select a screenshot area and search the web with that screenshot. And now that will pull up images similar to that, which is kind of nice. Microsoft calls this visual search. And this is handy if you have an image or something that you don't know what it is. You can just take a screenshot of it, search through Bing, and Bing will hopefully be able to tell you what it is, which is very nice indeed. So that's a very quick look at the new search UI. A minor update from the previous search UI, but a nice one nonetheless. So moving right along, the next noteworthy changes are inside Task Manager. So if we open up Task Manager here and jump over to the Performance tab, you'll see that Windows now recognizes your disk type and will tell you what it is here in Task Manager. So this is an SSD, disk 0, which is where Windows is installed, is an SSD. If you had hard drives plugged in, of course, it would say HDD or something along those lines. In addition, you can also see your GPU temperature. Now, this is a laptop, an Ultrabook without a dedicated graphics card, so you can't actually see it here. But if you are on a PC with a dedicated graphics card, this UI will also showcase its temperature now, which is super handy if you're somebody who needs to keep an eye on something like that on your device. So that's Task Manager, nice small improvements there. If we move on to Windows Ink Workspace, Microsoft has updated this ever so slightly as well. This actually was backported to previous versions of Windows 10, but I've not shown it off on video before, so I figured I'd do that now. The old Windows Ink Workspace is gone. It's been updated with this sort of ink bar, if you will. If I click on this, that would install an app called Whiteboard, which isn't installed on the operating system by default. So that's pulling from the Microsoft Store right now. But once that's done, I will be able to instantly access my Whiteboard through this UI. There we go. So now that's installed. If I click on Whiteboard, that will open up the Microsoft Whiteboard app where I can now ink straight into a whiteboard and invite friends to join me whilst doing so. There's also the option for a full screen snip. So if I click on that, that will take a screenshot of my desktop or whatever's on my screen, and then I can ink onto it as you would expect. So I can say, hey, there's some inking. And there's also this sort of triple dot menu here, which allows me to jump straight into my pen settings area within the Settings app on Windows 10, which is kind of nice. So that's a quick look at the new Windows Ink Workspace. Now, if we dive into settings, there's quite a few changes in here. First of all, if we jump into accounts and go down to sign-in options, you'll notice that there's this new thing here, require Windows Hello sign-in for Microsoft accounts. And essentially what this does is remove your password as an option for logging in on your PC. So this is already turned on. So if I lock the PC here and press enter, you'll see that it's using Windows Hello. And I no longer have the option to type in my actual Microsoft account password. I have Windows Hello sign-in with face or PIN, and that's it. And what's secure about this is that those forms of authentication are local to this device. So if an attacker has access to my password and physically gets hold of my device, they can't actually log into this PC. So this is just another form of security that removes the password from the equation almost entirely. Now, of course, that assumes the attacker doesn't have your PIN, but still, this is a nice way to sort of enhance security ever so slightly, because your Microsoft account password is universal across all of your PCs. So if somebody has your Microsoft account password, they have access to all of your PCs, unless you have this feature on, where now you can only use your bio authentication or using your PIN, which hopefully is different across your different devices. So if we jump out of there and jump into our network and internet, there's a new UI here for doing all sorts of internet-based things. So Microsoft has been working hard to enhance the network and internet page within the settings app here. And that's because Microsoft doesn't want you going into the control panel as much anymore. Most of those things are now inside the settings app, which is kind of nice. And if you have a device with an LTE, with LTE capabilities, you'll also have an updated UI here as well, which gives you access to things like how much data you're using. You can set a limit for yourself if you want a limited broadband connection, and all of that good stuff, which is very nice indeed. Also new in this update are enhancements to the one-click Bluetooth pairing system that Microsoft introduced with a previous Windows 10 update. It's now actually one click. In previous versions, it was 2 or 3 clicks. Now it's actually one click. So if we try this here and pair a mouse, with any luck, there we go. You'll see that there's now this pop-up, and I can press on connect. And now it's ready to go. And no longer will it take me to the settings app as well. That's one of the biggest changes. In the previous updates, it would open up the settings app for some reason. But it no longer does that. It just pairs straight through that UI without being taken into any additional apps, which is very nice indeed. Now, real quick, if you press on the Windows key and the full stop key here, or the period key, you get access to the emoji panel. This isn't new to Windows 10 by any means, but since this is a new update, there's a bunch of new sort of content within here. New emojis and new cow emojis as well. So if you're a user of those, you can take advantage of all the new ones that are now present inside this little panel here. Now, before we finish up, a quick word from this video's sponsor, Visible. Visible is a wireless carrier with no annual contracts and hidden fees, with a fun twist when it comes to family plans. With Visible's new Party Pay option, customers can party up with friends and family under one plan without all the awkward figuring out how to split the bill at the end of the month. Each member in the party is billed individually for the same Visible plan you know and love, which includes unlimited talk, text, hotspots and data with uncapped speeds on Verizon's 4G LTE network. Party Pay makes it so you don't have to split data or calculate percentages. Everyone pays a flat fee, and it's only $25 for the first month. If this sounds like a deal too good to pass up, you can get started today via the link in the video description. Another nice change in this update are some new icons, which will be rolling out over time. So these aren't specific to this version of Windows 10. They will be rolling out through the Microsoft Store, which means they'll be coming to older versions of Windows 10 as well. But since we're here, let's just show them anyway. A number of inbox apps will be getting new icons over the course of this year. Mail, calendar, weather, news, movies and TV, calculator, alarms and clock. All of the sort of inbox system applications will be getting new icons over time. You can see some of them here. We've got Mail pinned to the taskbar, which has this new icon. We'll open up Calendar real quick as well. Here's the calendar icon. Here's the weather icon. Here's the the news icon, sorry. Here's the movies and TV. Well, it's down there on the taskbar. We've also got the calculator, which has the icon down there. We have alarms and clock. We have Groove Music. Yes, even Groove Music got a new icon, which is kind of nice. We have, what else is in here? Office. Office has a new icon. Looks pretty sweet. We also have Voice Recorder. Hello, Voice Recorder. Voice Recorder has a new icon as well. Wow, this computer is really slowing down just by opening all of these apps. And like I said, more apps will be getting new icons over the year as well. So that's pretty much all there is right now. And they're sort of nice. They're sort of colourful new icons. They're no longer flat, single-coloured icons. They're now multiple colours and beautiful and very nice. And I think they really fit in with the Fluent Design aesthetic. They also sort of match the Office icons, which got new icons last year, like Word and stuff. So that's pretty sweet as well. In addition to all of that, there's a new version of Microsoft Edge. Now, once again, this isn't something that's actually built into the operating system yet. This will be rolling out as a separate update to not only Windows 10 version 2004, but previous versions as well. But once you get it, this is what Microsoft Edge will look like. Microsoft has rebuilt Edge from the ground up using Chromium, which is the same base that Google Chrome is based on. Now, we're not going to go too in-depth with this today, because this is frankly its own video, but if you use Google Chrome and hated the old Microsoft Edge, I would give the new Microsoft Edge a try, because it's essentially Google Chrome but made by Microsoft. And it's pretty sweet. It's got the same performance, the same extension support. So if you have a bunch of Chrome extensions, they will all work in the new Microsoft Edge. In fact, I can show that here. If we jump into extensions, turn on this mode here, press allow, and then go to the Chrome Web Store, I will be able to install any Chrome extension that I want, which is super nice. Let's install Google Translate. Why not? Add to Chrome, press add extension, and we now have Google Translate installed on Microsoft Edge, which is super nice. So yeah, This will be rolling out as an update separately from the OS at some point this summer. You can actually download it manually now on your current version of Windows 10 or even Windows 8 and Windows 7 by going to microsoftedge.com and downloading it from there. But like I said, it'll be rolling out as an automatic update to Windows 10 users over the course of this year. So there you have it. That's an in-depth look at the new version of Windows 10 rolling out this spring. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.